Hey, what's up? Tim Sykes here. It is the weekend. I'm not feeling so great, but there are no days off. And I want you to use the weekend to study, to reflect on your recent trades, to reflect on recent patterns. It doesn't matter if you're sick or not. The stock market is open every single weekday, and every single weekend, you still have the opportunity to learn from your successes and mistakes. The past 2 days, I've been doing a market mastery, teaching a few students in person. I love doing these. This is frankly why I'm sick, just because usually my schedule is crazy. This makes my schedule even crazier. But it really helps students to learn in person and hands on. I'll include a link where you can apply to come to my next one. It's going to be in March. And then I think we'll do one in May. It's like every month or two. But just apply. And if you want to learn in person, we do it either in Miami, New York, sometimes LA. We're going to do one in Europe this summer. I'm going to try to do it everywhere because it really, really helps you guys just to fine tune the process and helps you understand, which patterns are best. I took a little video. I posted it on Facebook. Check it out for a sec. How do I do this?
All right, made roughly 3 grand today. In front of students, how'd you guys do today?
Yeah, great. I missed execution.
Don't swear on video. People are watching. Kids are watching. How'd you guys do? How much you make today?
3 grand.
You made 3 grand today too? Look at that. Give him a round of applause. He's freaking amazing. And you were in the stock that I bought before me. How did you do it? How did you spot it?
OTC, multi-day breakout.
Wait, let me zoom in. Hold on. All right. What is it?
All right, so this is Michael. Huddy is his username on Profitly. He actually came to my last mastery in LA a few weeks ago too, and he did not have one red day in 2 weeks after coming here. And I'm not saying that like it's like magic or anything, but it does help you get more discipline. And if you look at his overall winning percentage, it's roughly 50%. He's made 60 grand. He made 3 grand the first day of this mastery and 2 grand the second day. Traded better than I did on both days. I made like 3,500 the first day and then I lost 500. So I made like 3 grand over 2 days. He made 5 grand. I love it when students do better than me. More importantly, he's blogging, he's doing his watch list, he's sticking to his watch list and his plans. If you follow me on Instagram, which you should, you can go check out my story. I highlighted him. And I just love it. I love seeing this. He's been in my challenge for several years now. And like I say, if you don't understand this stuff after 2, 3, 4 years, like you're just not going to get it. But he is getting it. And look at his profit chart. I mean, it is just awesome. I think he took some time off. But now, when it's clicking, it's really clicking. He nailed the dip buy on KSHB. I dip bought KSHB too. I just did not hold that much, and I was like second guessing myself. He actually told me, he's like, Sykes, you should be more patient. I'm not a patient person. You guys can be more patient. You can be better than I can, and that's cool. POTN, he nailed the dip at 30 cents a share. Hold on, let me get you a chart of POTN, because this is probably the best trade of the week. This was POTN's breakout. You can clearly see the multi-week breakout going back several weeks to the beginning of 2018. The high here was 29. It broke 29, went to 31, and then held 29 all day. I bought it at 30. After this, chart was taken, thank you, George, for saving this chart. You can see I labeled it POTN. Sykes told me to save it. That's what he labeled it. And you should save charts like this. You should take screenshots of absolutely perfect breakouts. POTN had a perfect breakout. You had an opportunity. Actually, the morning spike turned out to be not much. You had an opportunity to buy the afternoon breakout at 30 like I did. It went up to I think 33, came back down to 30, and then it went up to 37, and the next day it went to 40. So a nice little 30% plus gainer. But you had multiple opportunities to either buy the breakout or buy the dip when the breakout was confirmed, when it held 29 in the afternoon here, and then the next day it held 30. So Huddy nailed it both times. He actually held it all day, which, he's very patient. Tim Grattani's very patient. Stephen Ducks, they're all very patient. That's their strategy, and that's cool. That works for them. POTN, I did not have a position all day on Thursday. I was watching it out of the corner of my eye. I was actually doing, one-on-one interviews with some students, and I had one guy, and I was like, I'm sorry, I got to stop this. POTN is breaking, because I saw that it held 29 all day, and in the afternoon, it upticked a little to 30, and that's when you have to just put everything else aside, when you see those kinds of key breakouts or breakdowns if you're shorting. So Huddy held it all day, and he was rewarded. I simply waited for, a little better catalyst where, there was a clear breakout, because I know that I'm impatient. You have to know your faults. It's not about being perfect all the time. It's okay if you're impatient. It's okay if you're patient. You just have to, utilize what you've got and recognize what you've got and recognize what you don't have. If I was in POTN all day, I guarantee you that I would have been faked out at some point and either made a half a penny or lost a half a penny, but I would be out of the trade because it just wasn't doing anything. And Huddy has the patience. He was fine. I think he actually sold half his position, and then I think he rebought. And then the next day, POTN, when it opened at 37 or 38, it got back down to 30. And he rebought the dip, and he sold it a little too soon in around 34, and it went all the way back to 40. So amazing, amazing breakout over 2 days. But I'm just so proud of Huddy and everybody else. Obviously Michael, Huddy made $5,000 in 2 days. That's pretty sweet. But every student who was there, whether they were trading, paper trading, or learning, practice makes perfect over time. I have this one doctor who's, not really even a real doctor. He's a chiropractor, and I give him shit for that. It's actually kind of funny. But he is so dedicated. He's been moving around his work schedule in order to trade. And before he was trading with real money, now he realizes, hey, I got to practice. And he is perfectly willing to paper trade and learn the process. And before, when he first started, he wanted to make all this money right away. And he was telling the group, he was like, look, I took several years, like nearly a decade, to learn all my skills as a chiropractor. And then even as he was a licensed chiropractor, it still took him several years to master that. And I'm not saying this is going to take you a decade to learn this. There's no doctorate in trading, but it will take you a few years to get used to it. So it's important to have the right perspective. Huddy, this is year 3 for him, and he is nailing it. He is getting it. Before, his winning percentage, I don't know, might have been 30, 40%. Now it's 50%, but it keeps rising. And his profits keeps rising. And I love the fact, after every mastery, he does like a blog post. And I hope over the next 2 weeks he has no red trades. Again, if you have a red trade, it's not the end of the world. There was another student at my mastery that did a fat finger trade where he meant to exit the position, and instead he doubled up, and then he froze. And, I only found out about it like 2 hours later, and he didn't want to sell because he was down like 500, and it was an unnecessary 500. But we all make fat finger mistakes, okay? We all sometimes click the wrong number. Like we're pecking at these little digits, these little keyboards on our phones and laptops. Mistakes are bound to happen. But you cannot let a small mistake turn into a potential big disaster. And he recognized the mistake right away, but he held on because he didn't want to take the loss. It was still a stupid loss. Maybe it was like a blessing in disguise. It could come back. And he held, and he turned what probably should have been like a $50 loss into a $500 loss. And, I was like, dude, you can't let this happen again. No one trade is going to make you rich. So if you think like that, okay, no one trade is going to make me rich. If the stock doesn't do what I want, I'm out. If I make a mistake and now I'm like kind of like psychologically impaired, like I'm emotional about it, I'm out. It doesn't matter if the stock comes back, okay? Because it's not about what you make or lose on any one trade, especially in the beginning, especially when you're trading with a small account. You want to practice good habits. So if you make a fat finger mistake, yeah, you're probably going to lose a little money. But it's also an opportunity to practice good habits. So every single time, if you are going to do this over several years, over several decades, every single time you make a fat finger mistake, that is a blessing in disguise. It allows you to practice what will you do and how well can you minimize your losses. Obviously, you're not looking forward to it, But when mistakes happen, when losses happen, you have an opportunity and really a duty and responsibility to handle them the best that they can be handled. Do not just sit there like a deer in headlights. Do not double up and triple up and hope that it can come back. And then if it does come back, say, ha, I told you, Sykes, I didn't have to cut losses. I don't care, and you shouldn't care, if you make or lose $50 on a trade that didn't go the way you expected. The most beautiful thing about Huddy's trades here is not the profits. The profits are nice, but the fact that all of these trades, look at this. I mean, this is a beautiful grid of profitable trades. The best part of this is that all of his trades now, he is formulating a plan, he's putting it in his watch list, and he's sticking to that plan. And whether the trade goes well or doesn't, whether you sell too early or you don't, you're practicing good habits. That is what gets you good over the long run. That is what turns you into a millionaire in the long run. A lot of my top students are having record profits these past few weeks and past few months, even if they've had, downside. Like, what was that guy's name? Papa John. Is that his username? Papa John just keeps going, by the way. I meant to do a longer follow-up on him. Freaking awesome. And look at this. He was, where is it? He was down 16 grand and now he's up 10 grand. And it's like, how do you change this? I mean, there was no signs whatsoever that he was on the right track here, but he was learning and he was practicing and he was cutting his losses. And then the beautiful thing is that it all comes back very quickly. You will be surprised at how quickly things come together if you trust me, if you focus on the process. And I know, trust me, I know it's not fun to lose. I know it's not fun to put in all this time and effort and have your friends and family say it's not worth it, this is a scam. I've heard all the negativity. But if you just trust me, and if you wait for these kinds of perfect plays, it doesn't matter if you're sick, it doesn't matter if you're healthy. Look, there's another Papa John's ad. I love that Papa John's is advertising on John Papa's page. But if you are prepared mentally, and if you are prepared with experience, you will be shocked at how much you can make. And it's not just about winning percentage. Papa John, his winning percentage is still 44%. But if you look at some of his trades, his winners are bigger than his losers. Look at this. He lost 500 here, made triple that, made quadruple that, lost 400 here, lost 900 here, lost 800 here, lost 800 here, made 1,500, made 740, made 1,030, So his gains are bigger than his losses. I know some students where they lose 80 to 90% of the time, but they're losing 20 bucks here, 50 bucks here, 30 bucks here, 50 bucks here. And then they win once out of, let's say, 10 times, and they win $1,500 or $2,000 because they practiced cutting their losses and letting their winners run. So it's not just about winning percentage. You need to think about how can you grow your account exponentially? How can you get your profit chart like this? And that's what I want. I also got to give props to Ed Bogey. He's a third-year man, too. What is it? Is it E. Bogey? I mean, he didn't have losses, but he didn't have that many gains, and he stuck with it, and now his profit chart is going supernova. You will be amazed at what you can do once you get comfortable. And you cannot get comfortable in the beginning because this shit is weird. We're trading weird stocks. The rules are weird. They're very counterintuitive. But the more that you practice, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, it becomes a lot easier. And right now we are in a hot market. So a lot of you guys think that you need all these amazing plays to grow your account. You need experience. You need practice to grow your accounts. And the good plays that are happening, it's a good thing that they're there, but not in the way that you think, not just to enrich you right away. The money that you make in month 1, month 3, month 6, year 1 of your journey is irrelevant. But when every good play happens, you have the opportunity to practice. And that is what you should be looking forward to. And I know this sounds weird. I know you're just like, oh, just focus on the money. But trust me, if you focus on the habits and the process first, the big money comes later. It's amazing. And I'm seeing it more and more with more and more students who don't know each other. They're trading totally different strategies, different patterns. They have different personalities, but they're all having the exact same success after several years. So again, sorry for my voice. I'm not feeling that well. I'm going to go take a nap, but I'm so proud of so many of you. I love teaching. I love teaching you guys in person. Again, go click the link just below this video if you want to learn in person. We'll get you into one or maybe even more of these little sessions. We only have like a dozen people each time. But talk with my team, and I would love to teach you in person. Congrats to Huddy. Congrats to Papa John. Congrats to Ed Bogey. Thanks to Tim Bowen for also helping me out. He's a great guy. I don't know. I got to go sleep. Also, if you understand the lessons in this video, leave a comment saying no days off. I don't care if you're sick. You can still study, you can still learn, you can still reflect. You don't necessarily have to make a video like this, but just say no days off in the comments below, and I hope you have a good weekend. Let's prepare and get mentally prepared for next week. Lots of plays. I'll send a watch list later this weekend. Thanks.